You're lying in bed, you're not asleep, you're not doing anything, you're just running, replaying a conversation from 3 days ago, rewording it, saying the better version, the version you should have said, the one that would have made everything different. Or maybe you're writing a text in your head that you'll never actually send, or planning an entire conversation that hasn't happened yet, running through every possible response, every possible outcome for someone who doesn't even know you're thinking about them, and somewhere in the background, you're also doom scrolling, taking in information you didn't ask for, opinions about things you don't care about, news that makes your chest feel heavy, content that fills every gap, every quiet moment, every second your brain tries to breathe. You are exhausted not from doing things, from thinking about them. This video is about why that happens, and it's not what most people tell you. Here's the thing nobody says about overthinkers. They're usually the most observant people in the room. Overthinking is almost never stupidity. It's actually the opposite. People who overthink tend to pick up on more subtext, more nuance, more potential futures. Their brain is running pattern recognition at a higher sensitivity setting than most. That's not weakness, that's actually a form of intelligence. The problem is that pattern recognition needs input. It needs data, it needs signal, and the modern world gave it more signal than any human brain evolved to handle. Think about the amount of information your grandparents processed in a week. Local news, conversations with the same 30 people, maybe a letter or two. Now think about what your brain consumes in a single morning. Push notifications, group chats, tweets, news cycles, TikTok algorithms serving you clips from 17 different emotional registers. Your ex's story, a war, a meme, a mental health infographic, a tweet going viral about whether pineapple belongs on pizza. All before 9 a.m., your brain is doing what it was designed to do, finding patterns, making connections, trying to make sense of everything. The problem is that it never gets to finish, because there is no finish. You know what games understand that real life doesn't? Closure. When you complete a quest in a game, something happens. A little sound, a progress bar fills, a check mark appears, your brain releases dopamine, registers completion, and moves on. Games are engineered around the human need to feel like things resolve. The internet is engineered around the exact opposite. Infinite scroll was not an accident. It was a specific design decision made by a specific person, Asa Raskin, who later publicly apologized for inventing it. Because before infinite scroll, you hit the bottom of a page, you got a natural pause, a moment to decide, do I want more of this? Infinite scroll removed that question entirely. There is no bottom. There is no pause. There is no decision point, there is only more, and your pattern-seeking brain, the one that is already running hot, already trying to make sense of everything, just keeps going. Because somewhere in the evolutionary wiring, the loop that says maybe the next thing will matter never got an off switch. Here's what's actually happening neurologically. Every notification, every new post, every unexpected response to something you said, these are small, unpredictable dopamine hits, and unpredictable rewards are the most addictive kind. That's not a metaphor, that is the literal mechanism behind slot machines. The algorithm is a slot machine. You're not scrolling, you're pulling the lever, and here's where it connects to overthinking. Dopamine isn't just about pleasure, it's about anticipation. It's the chemical your brain produces when it thinks a reward might be coming, when it's scanning, when it's waiting, which means a dopamine-flooded brain is a brain that is permanently in a state of anticipation, not presence. Anticipation. You're not actually living in this moment, you're living in the next one, the next notification, the next update, the next thing that might change how you feel. And when you're living in the next thing, you are, by definition, living inside your own head. That is overthinking, not a character flaw, a system response. But it gets more layered than that. The internet didn't just overstimulate you, it gave you an endless gallery of lives to compare yours to. Everyone's highlight reel, curated, filtered, compressed, made to look effortless. And your brain, the same pattern recognition machine that notices everything, absorbs all of it and starts running calculations. Why is their life like that? What did they do differently? What's wrong with mine? What did I miss? What should I change? That's not insecurity. That's your analytical brain doing exactly what it does. Comparing data sets, looking for patterns, trying to optimize. The problem is the dataset is fake. It's a highlight reel presented as a documentary. You are comparing your unedited behind the scenes to everyone else's final cut, and you will never win that comparison. Nobody can. Think about it like this. In a game, you can have multiple quests active at once, but good game design limits how many you can juggle, because too many active objectives create something called quest paralysis, where you don't know which one to start, so you start none. Your life right now has 17,000 open tabs. Your career, your relationships, your body, your social media presence, your opinions about global events, your response to that text, the thing you said at the party 3 years ago, the version of yourself you're supposed to be by 25, by 30, all of it open, all of it unresolved, all of it running in the background, and you wonder why you can't think straight. There's a part of your brain called the default mode network. Scientists sometimes call it the mental time travel system. When you're not focused on a specific task, when you're in the shower, lying in bed, staring out a window, this network activates, and it does something interesting. It wanders, it reconstructs the past, it imagines the future, it thinks about yourself and other people. This network is actually crucial. It's where creativity comes from, where empathy comes from, where self-understanding lives. But here's the thing. The default mode network activates during rest, during quiet, during those unscheduled, unstimulated moments where your mind is genuinely idle. You don't have those anymore. Every time you reach for your phone to fill a quiet moment, you interrupt that process. You're not resting, you're reloading, putting more input into a system that is already overwhelmed. And the irony is that the mental clarity you're searching for, the calm, the sense of knowing what you actually think and feel, it lives on the other side of that quiet, the quiet you keep escaping. Psychologists call it rumination when overthinking becomes a loop, when you revisit the same thought, the same conversation, the same what if, without ever reaching resolution. Rumination thrives in overstimulated minds, because when your brain has been trained to expect constant input, silence doesn't feel like peace. It feels like something's missing, something to fill, something to solve. So you fill it, you scroll, you think, you replay, you spiral, and the loop continues. Cognitive overload is what happens when your working memory, the part of your brain managing active information, gets maxed out. When you're overloaded, decision-making becomes harder. Emotional regulation weakens. Small things feel heavier than they should. You feel frozen. That's not anxiety. That's not laziness. That's a computer with too many programs open trying to run a new one. I want you to hear this clearly. You are not broken. You are a highly sensitive, pattern-recognizing person who was handed an environment specifically engineered to exploit exactly that. The people who built Infinite Scroll, who refined the notification system, who A/B tested which alert sound makes you check your phone faster. They are not neutral. They are not indifferent. They measured your attention and they optimized for it. Every second you spend anxious, anticipating, comparing, scrolling, that's not a side effect of the internet. That is the product. The attention economy doesn't profit from you feeling calm. It profits from you feeling like you just need to check one more thing, like you're slightly behind, like something might be happening that you're missing. FOMO isn't a personality trait. It's a revenue model. And when you understand that, when you realize the mental chaos isn't coming from inside you, but from a system designed to produce exactly this, something shifts. Because you stop asking, what's wrong with me? And you start asking, what is this doing to me? I'm not going to tell you to delete your apps. I'm not going to give you a 5-step system. That's not what this is. But here's one thing, one real thing. The thoughts you keep looping on, the conversations you replay, the futures you try to predict, the decisions you can't seem to make. They don't resolve inside the noise. They never do. They resolve in the spaces the noise doesn't reach, not because silence is magic, but because you are a person who thinks deeply, and deep thinking needs room. It needs air. It needs moments that aren't already full of something else. The part of you that feels exhausted, that's not weakness. That's a signal, the most honest signal you have. Your mind is trying to tell you it needs space to actually be yours again. not the algorithms, not the feeds, not the constant current of everyone else's everything, yours. You're not crazy, you're not broken, you're just a person with a mind worth protecting in a world that profits from you forgetting that.